This is Sue Patterson from Michigan, and this is Voices of Service. Back at you after a busy year with myself and my real job, the one that pays for this habit, as I like to say, pays for my Kiwanis habit. But I want to thank you for being here tonight. We are recording this forum, and we will make it available to you hopefully within the next week or so that you can watch the candidates that are here. And next week on May 22nd, we will also have part two of this. I changed it up a little bit this year. Each candidate was provided an opportunity to turn in 2 slides, and they will get 5 minutes to introduce themselves. So that will give us an opportunity to get to know them a little better. We'll probably get through 1 or 2 questions at that time. If you have a question that you would like asked, just go ahead and put it in the chat. I will track all that information, and then as time goes on, if we get to the end of it, we'll also, like I said, we'll also have time next week to do that. And then the candidates for international trustee will be on June 12th. So we invite you to come back for them. Once you are signed up for Voice as a Service, you will automatically get an email every week that will give you a link to the program that we're doing that time. And they typically come out about 3:30 or 4 o'clock Eastern time for those of you that are here. So we're going to start out with the slideshows, and I will bring up, and I just put this in no particular order, but Gary, you are first, and you just need to let me know when you want me to move your slides for you. But everybody should see slides with a picture of Gary on it. Is that what you see now?
I don't see any
No?
slides.
All right. See, that's why I need to get some help here. How about now?
No,
It's
it's
coming.
starting.
Here you are.
Perfect. All right. So with that, I will start my timer.
Okay, so you want me to start?
You can, yep, start your presentation, your 5 minutes, and what I will do is I'll give you a kind of a time's up or a note
Okay.
of how much time you have left. And then
Okay.
you just let me know when you want me to move to the next slide.
Okay. Well. Okay. All right. Well, I'll get started here. All right. For more than 2 decades, I've been honored to serve alongside passionate Kiwanis members who believe, as I do, that one person can change a life and one organization can change the world. As a founding member and past president of the Kiwanis Youth Development and Support Club of San Diego, and now as a trustee of Kiwanis International, I've experienced firsthand the profound impact that our service has on children, communities, and each other. I want to lead Kiwanis International because I believe in the power of servant leadership, where listening, collaboration, and purpose-driven action form the heart of who we are as an organization. Throughout my time as distinguished governor, lieutenant governor, club coach, and leadership trainer, I've worked to build bridges. I've built new clubs. I've strengthened existing ones and empowered both youth and adult members to rise as leaders in service. Now, our organization stands at a crossroads. To remain vital in a rapidly changing world, we must be bold, innovative, and united in our mission. I bring a leadership style grounded in governance, civil discourse, and the belief that every club and every member should have the tools they need to create meaningful change in their communities. Whether through supporting our service leadership programs, mentoring future leaders, or championing youth literacy projects, I have dedicated my energy to sustaining and growing our global impact. With a background as a nationally recognized attorney and a founder of a leading law firm, I bring a strong understanding of compliance, strategy, and organizational leadership. But more importantly, I bring a heart committed to service. My wife, Donna, who's also a very proud Kiwanis, and I have made Kiwanis a family commitment because we believe so deeply in what Kiwanis represents. There are 5 principles that have and will continue to drive my leadership in Kiwanis. First and foremost is to ensure that every Kiwanis club has the tools it needs to affect positive change in its community and that it feels heard, supported, and empowered. Second, to encourage sustainable, community-driven service projects that help clubs create communities where all children can thrive. Third, to promote resources and training that help clubs measure and communicate their local impact, thus amplifying the Kiwanis story and attracting new members who are as passionate about service as they are. Fourth, to mentor emerging leaders, ensuring Kiwanis clubs continue to be driven by fresh ideas and unwavering commitment to our collective mission. And finally, to collaborate with our clubs to develop new and innovative plans to create measurable growth in membership, engagement with their communities, and increased global visibility that reflects both our traditions and our future aspirations. I'm ready to lead not just with experience, but with a vision. Together, we can strengthen Kiwanis, expand our reach, and ensure that every child, everywhere, has a chance at a better future. Thank you. I guess you can, if you didn't change the slide, you can change it, I guess.
I did change for you when I knew it was on your slide, so I changed it at the right point.
Okay, good. I was in the middle of something, so I couldn't see if you changed
It's
it or
quite
not.
all right. It's quite all right.
And
Okay.
I am done. That's my opening presentation. I hope you
Well,
all enjoyed it.
thank you very, very much. Very good. Okay, next on our slideshow is Kathy.
Good evening, everyone. First of all, Sue and the Michigan District, thank you for making this all happen. And to each and every one of you, thank you, thank you, thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a Kiwanian and making the impact that you do. I am Kathy Szymanski, and I'm honored to be a candidate for the Kiwanis International Vice President, and I'm from Erie, Pennsylvania. For 31 years, I have served Kiwanians. 29 of those, I've been a distinguished member, including a distinguished past governor, president, and current secretary of the Erie Club. As a Kiwanis International trustee during the COVID crisis, I helped navigate financial challenges, adapted service models, and kept clubs engaged globally, ensuring our resilience. This experience reinforced my ability to lead in times of uncertainty. Think strategically and always put the best interest of our organization and our communities that we serve first. I absolutely love opening and coaching Kiwanis clubs. And as a matter of fact, I helped open a new Kiwanis club in Pennsylvania this last week. And my biggest honor in my Kiwanis was receiving the Kiwanis Key of Honor. I've opened and mentored so many service leadership programs. This honor not only took me by surprise, but it just completely humbled me. I am the president of a successful IT company for 20 years. I'm also a United States Army veteran and a #1 Amazon bestseller. I was raised in Andover, Ohio, and I moved to Erie for college after serving the United States Army. This is when I met David, my husband, and we've now been married for 30 years. I am a donor to the Kiwanis Children's Fund, George Hickson, Walter Zeller, and a Dr. Will Bleckman Fellow. As a Kiwanis International trustee, I was chair of the membership committee. Also, I got to counsel the Circle K, and I served on the service and partnership committees, public relations, audit, and finance committee. As Kiwanis International Vice President, I will bring the energy, the enthusiasm, and a renewed sense of purpose to our organization. I believe that my passion for Kiwanis will inspire others to re-engage, strengthen membership retention, and revitalize clubs worldwide. Additionally, I am committed to recognizing the hard work of our volunteers and clubs, showcasing their impact in meaningful ways, celebrating their successes, and sharing their stories so we can foster the pride in Kiwanis by encouraging even more people to join us. Equally important, I will ensure that we remain fiscally responsible as an organization, carefully managing resources, making strategic decisions that we can ensure Kiwanis remains strong and sustainable for generations to come, empowering us to expand our programs. I am a forward thinker leader. I thrive on innovation and engagement. I believe in challenging the status quo, thinking outside the box, finding creative ways to strengthen and grow our organization. As a cheerleader for Kiwanis, I bring energy, enthusiasm that will inspire our members to reconnect with our mission and to drive positive challenges. With my experience at the local, district, and international level, I understand the importance of transparency. My leadership across these levels has shown me that clear, open communication builds trust and empowers Kiwanis clubs to serve children and communities more effectively. By fostering transparency, we ensure that every single member feels valued and every dollar serves our mission, driving greater impact for our kids worldwide. I believe in our global community and the life-changing work that we do. I will work tirelessly to strengthen our clubs, empower our members, and ensure Kiwanis continues to be a beacon of service and leadership for generations to come. As Vice President, I will energize Kiwanis with this enthusiasm and purpose. I will grow membership by equipping clubs with innovative tools, digital platforms for engagement, and expand our service leadership programs to empower our young leaders. I'll focus on our youngest children, vulnerable and in need, through programs like literacy initiatives. By sharing club success stories, I'll celebrate our volunteers and inspire new members. I am a forward thinker who believes in transparency, innovation, and teamwork. As Harry S. Truman said, it is amazing what we can do if you it is amazing what you can accomplish if you don't care who gets the credit. Together, we will build a stronger, inclusive Kiwanis for the next century, serving more kids worldwide. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy. Okay, next up is Chuck Fletcher. Chuck? I know he went out and came back in.
Now, can you hear me?
We can hear you now. Yes, Chuck.
All right, thank you. First of all, thank you for being working. And I just put up there some clubs that I've been counseling, and they are doing very well. They have been fabulous in what they're doing for as service in the communities and continue to grow. I've been a part of Kiwanis for 20 years, learned some things that keeps me going, as you in 2015 and 16. And then I want to say what a privilege and honor to serve on the international board for Key Club International. Tonight, I was with National is to energize us so that we can move forward and make a difference in the world today, because I think that we can do that. And then I want to say something at the bottom. I have the privilege by serving as a council person in the school in Kentucky on the school curriculum and assessment and accountability. That means that I have the opportunity as a board member from a school district to serve with people across the state of Kentucky to develop what we want students to know and what we want students to expect and make a difference. What a privilege, because that puts me in line in what we can do better in the state and in our Kiwanis International programs. Go to the next slide, Sue, please. Thank you. So here.
Chuck, I'm going to interrupt you just a second. You keep freezing on the screen, so you might want to turn off your video, and let's see if that helps.
Okay, can you still hear me?
We still can hear you, yes. Let's do that. Let's try that.
So, and one thing that I wanted to do is to realize that we want every.
Chuck, we're still having problems hearing you.
Okay. We haven't, my internet is kind of weak today too. So we got a storm coming in.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. So communication is one area that we want to look at. So we have to go to the districts, clubs, and we have some ways, and also members. We have some ways and means that we're going to produce very simple without major costs to spread the news around and do better communications. Now, let's go to what I call Kiwanis Excellence. First of all, if you look at the third one down, I purposely did that because I want to get your attention. So lieutenant governors are very important. So I want you to stay focused on lieutenant governors. One is they are going to work directly with clubs because we want to recognize every club in the nation for the jobs they do. So we have a program that we've developed and looking at that we want to introduce to show people that everybody can be successful in a club. So we will go from more emphasis with our clubs and making that difference. What excitement we can do in making clubs as a priority. So at the end of that year, real quickly, we would do this. We would recognize every club that's making a difference in the world, not just whether they're small clubs, mediocre clubs, or large clubs. Every club will make a difference. We would train governors. We would make things very simple in what we want to do to accomplish that. So when we talk about club leaders, I learned that if you have good, strong leaders, you're going to have a good, strong program. If you have weak leaders, guess what? You're going to have weak programs. Let me just say this. What I'm introducing and what we're introducing as a team is to show that we want every club to be successful. How we're going to present simple. So once we present this, you'll see that we're doing real good with nurturing and all that. Kiwanis has done a super job in producing programs, but we just want to add to make sure that we're just like key clubbers. We need to get at least 10% of our organization up to where it needs to be as an organization. Thank you, Sue.
Thank you, Chuck. Well, let's see if we move on. I know the weather's starting to get moving here too. So, all right. So last but certainly not least is Jackie Sue McFarland. Jackie Sue.
All right. Thank you, Sue, and also the Michigan District for putting this together for us. I have a secret, and I bet you will never know what that secret is. I love Kiwanis, and I hope that by the end of this time, you can feel my passion. I grew up in a small rural town of Othello, Washington. Both my parents were active in the community, especially youth programs and sports. I grew up being encouraged to volunteer as well, and I'm in debt to my parents for teaching me how. When I was younger, I was very shy. I used to stand by my mom's desk waiting for the bell to ring. I just couldn't go out amongst the rest of the students and socialize. It took me quite a while to come out of my shell, and I credit Kiwanis for helping me do that. One of my first positions in my career was as a sheriff's deputy for 9 years. One early experience was a missing child. I was dispatched to get the initial information until the detective arrived. I was very happy and proud to see that the parents of the child had the Kiwanis Kid Photo ID Day booklet, which my Kiwanis Club had done at the local mall a week prior. That was the only picture that the parents had available. Very proud Kiwanis moment. I joined Kiwanis 31 years ago and quickly became a proud Kiwanian. Kiwanis has been my second family and has enabled me to be the best version of myself, and I can see that in others. I currently work for Marsh McLennan Agency, an international organization where I am a senior client manager in the employee benefits department. I work to maintain the risk and tolerance compliance for my employers. As a current international trustee, I am intimately aware of the challenges that Kiwanis faces and the opportunities we can harvest. I am running for vice president because I believe I am an effective change agent and collaborator. My platform will focus on financial stability, membership growth, increasing our impact in communities, and expanding our service leadership programs. To me, financial stability means living within our means, developing realistic budgets, and realigning those budgets when expenses become known. We can't spend what we don't have, and the reserves are a rainy day fund. And today is not a rainy day, or at least not where I'm at. That was my joke for the day. I was born and raised in a small agricultural community. My dad was a surveyor for the Bureau of Reclamation, and my mom was the building secretary of the high school. Mom and dad were always busy, even when not working. They were instrumental in lots of community activities that kept kids off the street and out of trouble. I joined Kiwanis when I transferred to Wenatchee, Washington to help open a new office and service area. It was one of the best choices I've ever made and has become such an important aspect of my life today. I was a member of several Kiwanis clubs. No matter where I transferred with my job, I found a new club to call home. I was lieutenant governor in 2012 and governor under Sue Petterson in 2015-16. I then decided to continue on my leadership path with Kiwanis and successfully ran for trustee in 2022. I'm in my third and final year of this position. I want to continue to be a voice of change and reason for our Kiwanians across the globe, and am running for a Kiwanis International Vice President. I hope to work alongside you, listen to you, and hear you, and be the best leader I can be for our Awesome Sauce organization. Thank you.
Thank you, Jackie Sue. At this point, I'm going to turn off our PowerPoint so we can get all of our candidates back on the screen. And I will highlight them. So I'm going to stop the sharing. I think we got everybody back. I got too many screens open here. Okay, so I'm going to go around in the same way that we did with our candidates. We'll go back to Gary, then we'll go to Kathy, and then Chuck, and then Jackie Sue, and each one of them will get an opportunity to answer a question. And what we'll do is everyone will eventually have their first time at a question. And we'll continue to go that way, and then we'll get us till we get to the end of the day, and then we'll come back next week. So, Gary, you have the first question. How do you see your role as the vice president, which eventually moves up to the office of president, in promoting transparency, accountability, and unity within the Kiwanis International Board? How do you see the role of the vice president, eventually president, in promoting transparency, accountability, and unity within the Kiwanis International Board? You have 2 minutes.
Well, that's a very interesting question, especially just coming off the board as a trustee. I mean, I don't really see the role as vice president being much different than being a trustee in those areas. All of us as leaders have a role in transparency and accountability, especially to the members, and being open and forthright, especially when it comes to financial accountability and accountability as to what we're doing as an organization, being forthright and direct with our members about what's happening. There's a lot of things happening in membership growth, and how we're approaching our leadership with our service leadership programs. There are a lot of things going on within the organization, and when members come to us and ask us questions, we should be prepared for the answers. And if we don't know the answers, we should be prepared to tell them the answers, but more so with each other, being accountable for what we're supposed to do, doing the work we're supposed to do, reading the volumes of material we get about what's happening and why it's supposed to happen, so we understand the issues, so that we can make the right choices and fulfill our fiduciary obligations and duties to our organization. We're not in that position to just rubber stamp whatever we're told by staff or by other members of the board. We're supposed to make a meaningful decision with the idea of what's doing best for organization in those areas. So as vice president, it's my job to understand those and to collaborate with my other 17 members of the board to make those decisions and to be accountable to them.
Thank you, Gary. Next, we'll go to Kathy. Same question. How
Sure.
do you see the role of the vice president in promoting transparency, accountability, and unity within the Kiwanis International Board?
As vice president, I believe my job is to support the president, oversee the specific club initiatives, and step into leadership when needed. Advance in Kiwanis' mission of community service and youth development. I believe transparency is part of my clear communication skills, ensuring that members are understanding the goals, the decisions, and the activities that are made through our board, as well as the staff. Accountability. I think accountability, we need to be more thorough on accountability to our members, making sure that they understand the processes and where we're spending our money and what we're getting for our money, our dues. And inclusivity, inviting everybody. We need everybody at the table to understand by building their trust and getting their feedback, reflecting on Kiwanis' values of service in every single possible way. I think I have a transformational leadership that inspires members to embrace a shared vision. And also my servant leadership prioritizes the needs, making transparency a natural extension of my style. Thank you. I hope that answered it.
Thank you, Kathy. Chuck, same question. Did you need me to repeat that for you?
No, I'm okay. First of all, when I think about the question you just asked, I think about Kiwanis International itself. There's a lot of history about Kiwanis International. A lot of folks have gone through some amazing things. If we look at the people that have been a part, including the folks that's in here in this room right now, have made a difference. And we got to make a big difference in the future of Kiwanis. So I would work with the board. First of all, I would call it what I call the power of the unit. The power of the unit is, and everybody around the world understand this language. The power of the unit is love. If we learn to love one another and love each other from around the world, what a difference we can make. So the power of the unit's got to be ready when the day comes, whether who's on the board, and have that playbook ready to go. One book that's helped me is called High Road to Leadership by John Maxwell. And I would say, what a great book to have in your hands to teach you about what high leadership means.
Thank you, Chuck. Jackie Sue.
Could you please repeat the question?
Sure. How do you see the role of the vice president in promoting transparency, accountability, and unity within the Kiwanis International Board?
Thank you, Sue. So I believe my job as vice president is to assist the president and president-elect in having a good year, a satisfying year, in supporting their goals. I also look at my position as being a supportive person to all of the board. Transparency is something that we always strive to do, but I don't think we're just quite there yet. We need to be more open, more transparent, more forthcoming, proactively with our information to the members, because we are a dues member organization. It's your money that we are working with. Inclusivity, I don't think I said that right, but anyway, we just need to make sure that we are sharing information, not so much as trickling from the top down, but also listening from the bottom up. We need to make sure that we are being a forthright and impactful leadership team for all of our members. So it really does need to be listening from the bottom up. Thank you.
Jackie Sue. Okay, Kathy, this is your question. You get it first. As a board member, you've developed a project or an idea that you truly believe will make a meaningful impact in the Kiwanis world. You've done your homework, gathered the data, and built a strong case, convinced it's a win-win for the organization and our members. You bring it to the board with confidence, only to find that the support isn't there. How do you respond?
That's a good question. First of all, I'm going to debate the board in a very friendly manner, obviously, and find out why they're not in support of it. And explain to them why I'm so passionate about it. And at the end of the day, if they don't support it, for lack of better words, it is what it is, and I walk away. But at the same time, I take from the board what they recommended, why they didn't like it, why they did not feel it would be successful, take it back to a team and figure out how we can present it again to make this a success. Because if I feel that passionate about it, I need to make this work. So again, I would debate it, work on it, take it back to my team and bring it back to the board again.
Thank you, Kathy. Chuck? Would you like me to repeat that for you? I know it's a long question.
Go ahead and repeat it again.
Okay, as a board member, you have developed a project or an idea that you truly believe will make a meaningful impact in the Kiwanis world. You've done your homework, gathered the data, and built a strong case, convinced that it's a win-win for the Kiwanis organization and our members. You bring it to the board with confidence, only to find that the support isn't there. How do you respond?
One thing that I would look at as a board is to see where our goals are. And if it fit into the goal of what we have for as a board, then I would try to continue to convince them. If not, then one thing we can do is sit down together at the table together and try to come up with what's the best solution that we can do to make a difference in what we want to do to make a difference in our organization. So I would come back with the board and say, okay, let's work together as a team. Let's work together. What?
Chuck, we lost you there for a minute. I think we got you though.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. Okay. Jackie Sue, same question. As a board member, you've developed a project or an idea that you truly believe will make a meaningful impact in the Kiwanis world. You've done your homework, gathered the data, and built a strong case, convinced it's a win-win. You bring it to the board with confidence, only to find that the support isn't there. How do you respond?
So first of all, I need to make sure that when I'm presenting the idea to the board, I disclose all of the facts, keeping emotion out of it, be factual, be considerate. I need to then, if I'm met with resistance, find out why. What are the obstacles that are found? What can we work together to come up with in order to make it a successful and a team approach for the betterment of our members? So I don't really think it should be all my idea with, yeah, let's go do it. I think it needs to be fully disclosed, presented well, listen and adjust and check when necessary.
Thank you. Gary? Would you like me to
Yes,
repeat the question, or are you good?
I think that's a really funny question because the very first motion I ever made on the international board, no one would second. So I think I kind of understand that a little bit. But you know, having served 3 years on the board, I also know that it's not a realistic scenario that you would ever do that because of all the collaboration that goes on the board before you ever bring a motion. So you're going to collaborate and kind of have an idea of the way the motion's going to come before the board anyway, but you're more likely than not to have a split decision and it'll be like 9-8 or 10-7 or something like that. And so I think your reaction is to go back and sit down with people later on after the meeting and have conversations and call people and say, how can we tweak this? How can we make this work? Or what is it that's not really working for the betterment of Kiwanis? Where are we missing something? And see if we can figure out what it is that needs to be done to sort of get our worldwide partners on board with it, because sometimes it works in, Paris, Texas, but maybe it's not working in Paris, France, or maybe we're not communicating the idea in the right way so that we can come on board with it. And sometimes it's an aha moment for you. You did your homework, but you didn't think about how it plays in Manila or some other place. And so maybe that's the way I would approach it, to try to see, whether it really was in such a great idea. Just because I like it doesn't mean everybody has to like it. So that's how I would approach it.
Thank you, Gary. Okay, question number 3. And this one will go to Chuck first. In Kiwanis, we often face decisions between what would be nice to have and what we need to have for our organization to function and thrive. How do you make that distinction?
Again, it's a very
Go ahead.
good question. First of all, I think more than anything, I would look at to see how it would benefit. I believe that we can do that. So I would focus back on the cost to see what we can do.
Thank you. Jackie Sue, in Kiwanis, we often face decisions between what would be nice to have and what we need to have for our organization to function and thrive. How do you make that distinction?
Well, that's a tough one, but I think first of all, I would evaluate who's it going to benefit, what's it going to cost, and then what would happen if it didn't pass or get approved. So the wants and the needs, you really have to pull out the emotion. You have to base it on the facts. And for the betterment of the entire organization, what is the cost? And if we do nothing, what's going to be the expense of doing nothing? So hope that made sense. That's a tough question.
Thank you. And Gary.
Yeah, it is kind of a tough question, but I think all of us kind of go through that in our own lives. We have to decide what we need and what we want, and so we have to figure out what we have to do. And we go back to our mission. What is it we have to expend or do to meet our basic mission, to support our service leadership program and partners? What do we have to fund in order to have our staff do what we need to get done in order to make the impact that we want to make? And what sort of programs do we need to have out there to support our clubs and strengthen them so that they have the resources to make the impact in their communities and around the globe? And what would be really nice to have? And the other thing is, do we have Bill Gates' phone number? Because, he's going to give away $200 billion in the next 10 years. And if we have that, can we call him? Will he give us $1 billion? I mean, those are the kind of questions we ask to meet, what we'd like to have. But we don't have this, so what can we do? We just went through that challenge with the dues increase, and how much do we really need to have to get by? And I think the members told us what they would give us, and so we figured out how to do that. So that's how I think we approach it.
Right, go for it.
I feel like with our world changing continuously, what we need, what we want, what we should have are 3 things that we need to focus on, especially when we are part of a board as amazing as the Kiwanis International Board. So I think we need to, who is this going to benefit? Is it dogs? Is it kids? How does it benefit them? Does it reach our mission? And I feel like those are the 2 things that we seriously need to take into account. And then obviously the obvious, how much is it going to cost? How does this affect our members? Is it something that we as a board feel the need, or is it a need that is going to create worldwide? So I think there's a lot that we would need to take into account to figure out what the need versus the want is, the mission, the cost, and who it affects. Thanks for coming back to me.
Thank you. Sorry, Kathy. I was looking ahead on my paper. Okay, now we will move on to question number 4. And this one we start with Jackie Sue. Tell us about a time that you helped lead change within Kiwanis. What was the situation, the outcome, and what did you learn?
Could I ask a clarifying question?
Sure.
Is this on an international level or a district level?
Wherever you led change.
All right. So that question takes me back to the year when I was governor in the Pacific Northwest District. And a lot of the districts have what we call outreach funds. It helps our SLPs, our service leadership programs, pay some of their expenses and be able to be included in a lot of the Kiwanis events with the Classic Kiwanians. At that time, we were not running the donations or the outreach funds through our foundation. So they were not tax deductible for the United States Kiwanians. So I worked with the foundation to get them to develop a plan to where we did run the monies, the donations through the Pacific Northwest Foundation. It made it tax deductible for USA residents, but it also, at the same time, we put together a plan to ensure longevity and stability of the fund so that we didn't spend more than we took in, so that we could make sure that the fund was going to last as long as possible, but take care of the SLPs at the same time. That was one of the achievements that I had during my year, but it wasn't something that I did alone. I did it with a great team to make this happen.
Thank you, Jackie Sue. Gary, tell us about the time you helped lead change within Kiwanis. What was the situation, the outcome, and what did you learn?
Well, it's an ongoing process of leading change in Kiwanis, and it deals with Key Leader. When Key Leader first came to our organization, my wife and I got really excited about it, and we brought it to the CNH district, and it grew exponentially here, and we did really well with it. But we had to bring it here and convince people it was worthwhile. So we led that change, and we saw significant change with our service leadership programs within that. And then as it grew here, it didn't necessarily do so well on the international level. And then it was decided that that was going to be turned over to the districts. Suddenly, all the backup and support systems that we had from Kiwanis International were gone, and we had to change our whole program and redevelop it into a district program. So we led that change, and we suddenly found that it was a great idea. Although we initially hated Kiwanis International for doing it to us, it was a great idea to let us have charge of it and to change it, because it became a much more dynamic opportunity for our students in CNH. And then now it's changing again. And so we're re-leading that change. And so that change within that Key Leader program is dynamic and changing. And ironically, the way we're learning to lead that change is through the Key Leader program itself. It's teaching us how to do that change. So that's the most significant thing, I think, in my life, that's teaching me and helping me lead change. Thank you.
Thank you, Gary. Kathy?
There are a few things that come to mind, but I'm going to discuss the Kiwanis Tiny Village. In our city of Erie, Pennsylvania, in Pennsylvania specifically, families that are homeless cannot be with each other. So if they end up homeless, dad goes to this side of the shelter, mom and the kids have to go to this side of the shelter. When I found this out, this was just horrifying to me, to know that parents cannot be together. Dad cannot read stories to his children at night. He cannot be with them when they wake up. So I went to our Kiwanis Club and I said, what can we do? How can we raise funds to create homes where families can be together? So we came up with a fundraiser, and it's now called Kiwanis Village, and families are able to be together. And the first home I got to be a huge part of, and the kids stayed up all night with their dad. We gave them books. We gave them so many things that they could utilize. And they stayed up the entire night, jumping up and down on their bunks, and dad couldn't sleep the night before. we were able to put this family together. And today they are now, just as an FYI, they are now out striving on their own, both of the parents working, and they are in a home. So I'd like to feel that my Kiwanis Club, with all of the people that we talk to and help make this happen, we're part of this family and this success story.
Thank you, Kathy. Chuck?
Okay, the one that comes to mind with me is I have the privilege and honor to build and counsel clubs. And the one I'm involved with now, the people was very negative in the sense of saying they can't do things, they can't do this because we don't have the money, we don't have, we're not like my club, so we just can't do it. And one thing that I had to do was be positive, be a mentor, and just encourage them that they can do it. And the greatest thing about it, so many months, we begin to see that light that's beginning to shine on that hill and make a difference in this club that don't have a lot of money. People don't have a lot of economic money for as a community, but they begin to realize it's about the children. Last month, we had a Kiwanian from there, large amount of money, not money, but food to help the babies in that community. And so they begin to see the impact, to take the little steps to make the difference in the lives of people. It makes your teardrop come up because they begin to see we can make a difference in our community. That's why, so we go hashtag every Kiwanian succeeds. Thank you.
Thank you. So we have 6 minutes left tonight. I'm going to ask one final question, but before I do that, I just want to remind everybody, if you have any other questions, feel free to put them in the chat. You can send them to me directly. That way the candidates and not everybody else sees them, or you can send them to my email address and I will get them. I will post the video once we get it together. We'll put it out there, and then we'll also do another push for next week's program to do part 2 of this. So if you have any suggestions for questions, feel free to send them my way. But the one final question that we'll give to each candidate tonight, and we'll start with Gary. In one sentence, why should delegates entrust you with their vote for Vice President of Kiwanis International?
One sentence.
One sentence. Why should delegates entrust you with their vote for the Vice President of Kiwanis International?
They should entrust me because I have the background, training, and experience to lead our organization to the next level.
Thank you. Kathy?
You need a leader who can adapt and think strategically. And I am a forward-thinking leader who thrives on innovation and engagement.
Thank you, Kathy. Chuck?
I think you need somebody who's willing to be at the ground level with you, who's willing to give time and love and concern. That's who I am.
Thank you. Jackie Sue?
I will listen to your needs, evaluate what we have on the table, and make the best possible choice for all Kiwanians in our Kiwanis world.
Thank you. So I want to thank everyone for joining us tonight. Chuck, Kathy, Gary, and Jackie Sue, thanks for being here. We look forward to being with you again next week. And again, if you have any other questions, please feel free to send them my way. But thanks everybody for a great evening. I hope you learned a little bit more about our candidates, and we look forward to seeing you next Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Thank you.